Agency owners, in this video, we're gonna walk through the same onboarding process that our agency has used to onboard hundreds of clients. Arguably one of the most important parts of the client journey is not the sale, is not the delivery, but it's the onboarding. This is the client's first impression, and you wanna make a good impression starting out that's not going to cause a headache for the customer and also make you look professional. So in this video, I'm gonna walk through a step-by-step process on how you can save more time, how you can provide an elite onboarding experience for your clients, and how you can do this simply just with one form that's going to trigger everything automatically. So if you have been feeling stressed, if you have been feeling overwhelmed by the idea of onboarding multiple clients throughout your weeks, throughout your months, or you're unsure if your onboarding system is actually effective, then this video is going to be for you. For those who don't know me, my name is Austin Schneider, founder and CEO of Brantegic. We're a creative agency out of Bellevue, have been in business for about 5 years. I'm also the co-founder of Agency U, which is a agency consulting, agency coaching program that helps agency owners scale. Our real mission is to shift the paradigm of agency coaches. We've been through a lot of courses, we've been through a lot of different trainings. It hasn't really been anything like what we're trying to build, which is giving templates, giving copy and paste project management tools, giving access to actual courses that are helpful and not just a bunch of recorded calls, done for you systems, weekly coaching calls, pretty killer mastermind, and much, much more. But without further ado, let's jump into this video. So what this is basically the same onboarding system that we've used to onboard 100+ clients with just one form. This is, again, probably not a highly talked about topic just because so many people want to focus on sales, lead gen, I'll get you this many appointments, close this many deals, etc. But the idea of actually fulfilling it can be intimidating. So we want to make sure you can do both. And then this will also take a little bit to understand and set up, but once it is set up, it'll be extremely worth it. What I mean by this is it's going to take some front-end work by you to actually set up the automations, to set up the tools, but once it's set up, it's pretty much done. And again, this is literally just going to be one form that's going to trigger your whole onboarding system. Who this video is going to be for, it's going to be for marketing agency owners that are overwhelmed by the idea of onboarding more than 3 clients per week. Again, so many people preach, oh, we're going to get you 10 leads in just one day. We're going to get you close 20 deals in a week. Okay, if you close 20 deals in a week, do you think you could confidently onboard them and provide a good experience for your clients? If you answered no to that, then keep watching this video. It's also gonna be for marketing agency owners that are spending too much mind share and time during the onboarding process guessing if what they're doing is right. So time and time again, we come across agency owners who are like, I don't know if this is the right thing to do. I don't know if I'm doing this correctly. I don't know if the client's having a good experience. It can just take up mind share, can take up unnecessary space in your brain when you can just create this process. So basically what this will help you do is just help you retain more clients, because if they have a bad experience from the jump, then that's going to be the seed that will be the relationship, and they're going to think that how you do your onboarding is how you do everything. That's going to save you a ton of time. It's going to provide a great client experience, and it's going to allow you to onboard more clients stress-free. So if you want to really scale, then you have to have an onboarding system that actually will support scaling, meaning you're not doing everything manually and all that stuff. Some tools required. So before we jump into it, we're going to be using Google Forms, we're going to be using Zapier, and we're going to be using e-signatures. We're going to be using Course Creator 360, which is basically a partnership that we have with Course Creator 360 to create all of the automations for you. And if you want access to the software that we're going to talk to, I'm also going to link them down in the notes so that you can just simply click on them and get access to all the tools that we're talking about. The overarching theme for onboarding is we're going to have an intake form that's going to send the client a contract, and it's going to send them a welcome email. Okay, once the contract is signed, then we're going to send them an onboarding form, and we're going to add them to our CRM. Once they have actually filled out the onboarding form, then that's where we're going to send the onboarding call calendar to actually have a conversation with them and onboard them into the business. So many people like mess up. They are sending manual emails. They don't have a defined process. So if you do not have a defined process, steal this. It will help you a lot. So one other thing to note is we're doing the call very last. So we're making sure that they've signed the contract. We're making sure that they've filled out the onboarding form before we even talk to the client. Because if you're jumping on a call and they haven't filled out the onboarding form, they haven't signed the contract, but you're eager to onboard them, then you're going to, again, provide the client with a bad experience because you don't have all the necessary information that you need in order to do this correctly. Let's jump into the actual steps. So first step is going to be a one-click trigger. So what we want to do is we want to create what's called a sales intake form. So this is a intake form that a salesperson will fill out upon closing a deal. And what this is going to do, it's going to act as your trigger. It's going to trigger all of the necessary next steps. So by filling out one simple form, this will trigger all of the stuff that you just saw in the last minute or two, which was it's going to send the contract, it's going to send the onboarding form, it's going to send the onboarding call, etc., etc. What we use is we use Google Forms. So for example, we need like, what is the business name? What is the client's first name, email, address, etc., invoice amount, invoice terms, and you'll see why we're getting all this information in just a second. But one, this allows you to store the necessary information in Google Sheets, and then also allows you to trigger everything that's going to happen next. So the second thing that we want to do is send the contract in a welcome email. Okay, so after the intake form is filled out, which is basically your trigger, it's going to automatically send them a contract and a welcome email. So from a contract perspective, what we use is we use esignatures.io. Esignatures.io is a very affordable, very simple to use contract tool, essentially, that we use at Brantegic and at Agency U to be able to efficiently send contracts. So it's 49 cents per contract sent. So it's super affordable. It's not on a massive contract, and you can create really good templates within it. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to create a template through eSignatures, and you're going to add in all of the necessary information that you want on the contract from the intake form. So what that looks like, so if I pull up one of our contracts, we have like placeholders in here. So if you hover over here, this is a placeholder where we're going to put the business name. So in the intake form, we asked what the business name is. Okay, cool. We're going to put deliverables. Okay. In the intake form, we asked what the deliverables are for the clients. Okay. In the intake form, we asked what the contract date was, what the length of the contract is, what the invoice amount is. And we're going to sync the intake form with Zapier to the contract. Okay, and these are just simply using placeholders. So if you click on a placeholder, it will automatically add it or automatically add it. So if I click here, then I click placeholder, then I can just change this to whatever I want it to be. What this actually looks like, basically that's going to be the Google form to eSignatures. That's what this app is going to be. So if we scroll up to ours, new response in Google Forms, then it's going to create the contract in eSignatures and send it. So as you can see from our contract, and this is just a test, we have the signer name, which is pulled from the intake form. We have the email, which is pulled from the intake form. We have the phone number, pulled from the intake form. Business name, pulled from the intake form. And then once you scroll down, you'll see all of the placeholder fields that we made and pulled from the intake forms to add to the actual contract. So by filling out the intake form, what this is going to do, it's going to allow you to sync them with the placeholder. So anything that says business name on the contract is going to add in what is added in the form, etc., etc. Then what we can also do is you can go to the contract title, the email subject, like email signature, etc., etc., etc. This is what this looks like. And then what you want to do is you want to select the proper template that you built in eSignatures in order to actually pull the right contract and make sure that it's done correctly. And then what you're going to want to do is after the contract is sent, you want to send them a welcome email just acknowledging that, hey, the contract has been sent. We're super excited to work with you. Here's the next steps. Because one thing that you want to do when you're working with a client, when you're working with a new client, is you want to give them a sense of control. You want to make sure that they know what the next step is and they know that you have everything dialed in as it pertains to the next steps. So for example, what we use is we use Course Creator 360 / Agency U, which is a partnership that we've developed with Course Creator 360 to automatically add all of these templates for you. What happens is after we send the contract, we also have a Zapier that's going to add them to this workflow. So what this is going to do, it's going to send a notification in Slack to our company and it's going to say, XYZ just received the contract. We're super pumped to start working with them. And then we're going to send them an email. So, hi, John, my name is blah, blah, blah. You're the CEO of Brantegic. We just sent over your contract. Look for something from eSignatures. Next steps, once signed, we'll send you another onboarding form. Once filled out, we'll send you a calendar to book your onboarding call. Questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Perfect. So that is now taken care of and you're not even doing anything because the Zapier is triggering this. Alternatively, what you can do if you don't want to use the software is you can simply use a Gmail trigger in Zapier. So if add in another step, essentially, you can just go to Gmail and then you can send an email through there. after the contract is sent. Then you can build it out from there. Okay, but we're not going to do that because that's not what we do. Step 2 is complete. The contract has been sent and the welcome email has been sent. The intake form has been filled out. Now what we want to do is we want to send them the onboarding form after they sign the contract. Basically, once the contract is signed in e-signatures, that's going to be the trigger from Zapier to add them to the next workflow, which is going to be adding them to the workflow in Lead Connector, which is the Course Creator 360, to then send them the onboarding form, send them the workflow. Basically, what we want to do is we want to make sure that the client is receiving an onboarding form so that we can get the necessary information that we need in order to get to know them a little bit, hear a little bit about their business in their own words, as well as make sure that we have documented everything that we need from contact information, accounting information, and much, much more. So once the contract is signed, basically what we're doing is we're adding them to the next workflow, which is going to be onboarding welcome. So after they actually sign the contract, we're going to move them to the pipeline of onboarding. We're going to remove them from all the workflows. We're going to add recurring client paying customer tag, and then we're going to send a notification to Slack that says XYZ just signed the contract. This is amazing. Boom, boom, boom. Then we're sending them the welcome email. So the welcome email is basically, hi, John, thank you for signing a contract. We're so excited to start working with you. My name is John over at blank, blank, blank. It's my goal to ensure you're set for a win. Next steps, click here to fill your onboarding form. Please complete this form in 24 hours. Once completed, we'll send your calendar for your first onboarding call. Questions, don't hesitate to reach out. If they don't respond within 24 hours, if they don't click anything within 24 hours, then basically we send a follow-up email. So the onboarding form essentially looks like this. So we basically just gather some relevant information. It's all done within Course Creator 360, just so we can start to get to know them a little bit, and it adds it to the profile, and we know everything about the customer that we need to know going into the relationship so that it can actually be successful. Alternatively, if you don't want to use Course Creator 360, then you can simply use Google Form or Typeform or something along those lines. Also to note, just to plug this, if you want a free 30-day trial with all these templates pre-made for you, essentially, you can click the link down below and you can essentially get the same systems, the same questions, the same forms, the same onboarding workflow that we're using for our agency, just dropped into yours. Essentially, it's a free 30-day trial and it's $147 after that. The tool can do much more than just onboarding, but this is a pretty big highlight of it. So now that the intake form has been filled out, the contract has been sent with a welcome email. After they sign the contract, we're just creating a zap that is essentially saying e-signatures, signature has been complete. Now we're going to add them to the next workflow, which is the welcome email, to get them to fill out their onboarding form. Now what we want them to do is book an onboarding call. So essentially within Course Creator 360, you can simply have them, once the onboarding form is filled out, it automatically adds them to the next workflow, which is going to be sending them a calendar link to actually finally book the onboarding call. So you'll notice that the onboarding call is the very, very, very last step, and it's not going to be the first step. We're not going to jump on an onboarding call within one day because we need the information to go into this onboarding call very well, and it kind of puts that boundary with the client, so you're not like over delivering, you're not moving too quickly, and you're not setting the wrong expectations from the jump. In Course Creator 360, basically what we do is we have a trigger once the onboarding form is submitted. So basically a survey that says, hey, thanks so much for filling out your onboarding form. Next step is to get your onboarding call scheduled. So it's basically kind of putting the clients through steps in like little bite-sized pieces, because the last thing you want to do is you want to send this 3-page or this 2-page paragraph with a bunch of steps that they need to do. It's going to be overwhelming for them. So if you can kind of piece things out as they go throughout the onboarding process, then you're going to be set up for a win, and it's going to be bite-sized versus an overwhelming email that's going to be tasking them with a bunch of stuff that they need to do that likely they're not going to get to. And then it's going to send an internal notification. And again, if they don't click within 24 hours, then we're just going to continue to send follow-up information. And then after they fill out the onboarding form, then they can book the onboarding call. And then after they book the onboarding call, the onboarding is essentially complete from that perspective. Then you can go through your process of actually onboarding the client, asking the client the appropriate questions on the onboarding call, and actually getting them onboarded to begin actually fulfilling your services, which I can talk about in a future video. If you don't want to use Course Creator 360, again, the alternative is to create a Zapier or a redirect after they fill out the onboarding onboarding form. For example, if you use Typeform, you can redirect them after they fill out the form to simply book a call to your Calendly or whatever you want to use. But we really like Course Creator 360 because we can just add in all of the automations. After they book a call, we can send all of the appointment reminders. We can have all of the different calendars within Course Creator 360 so that we know exactly where the client is coming from. For example, onboarding call, we can see who is doing what in what calendar that they're actually booking something on and create the appropriate reminders throughout that. So that's pretty much the onboarding process that's going to allow you to literally do this with just one click in one form. That's going to automatically alleviate any stress, any anxiety with onboarding, and any unnecessary mind share that's going to take up for it. Then finally, if you want help one-on-one with your agency, I'm linking my calendar in the Notion page so that if you have any questions or if you want a free strategy call on how we may be able to help your agency from fulfillment, from lead gen, and much, much more, feel free to book a call with us and we can learn more about you to see if you're a fit for Agency U and what we're doing to help other agency owners. And I'm also gonna drop the Notion page that I'm walking through down below so you can have access to it and you can literally walk through it step by step as well. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or any ideas for future videos for your agency and any pain points that you're experiencing in your agency, please leave a comment down below. I try to respond to everything and get back to everyone and actually use that information to act on. If you have any questions about your agency specifically, please feel free to follow me on Instagram and shoot me a DM. I would be happy to help you out as much as I can. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you soon.